Good morning, students of class 6. Welcome back to division physics classes. Today we will start the discussion on magnetic poles. Now see the board very carefully. Poles of magnet. Okay, we want to learn about poles of magnet. To learn about poles of magnet, you can perform an activity at your home also. On the piece of paper, you just take some iron fillings. Now you take a magnet and keep the magnet on the piece of paper. You are able to see that maximum iron fillings are attracted by the two ends of the magnet. So from this observation, you can define the magnetic poles. So therefore, what is magnetic poles? See, the end of the magnet where magnetic force is maximum, the end of the magnet where the magnetic force is maximum are called poles of magnet or magnetic poles Therefore, whenever you perform this activity, then you are able to see that the maximum iron fillings are attracted by the two ends of the magnet. Why? Because the magnetic force is maximum at the two ends. That's why the two magnetic poles, that is North Pole and South Pole, are exist at the two ends of the magnet. So regarding this activity, you have to remember certain points. See, magnetic force of a magnet is maximum near it ends and decreases as we move towards its middle. So therefore, whenever we move from North Pole towards the middle or South Pole towards the middle, then the magnetic force decreases. Number 2, each magnet has two magnetic poles. Okay, namely North Pole and South Pole. The poles of the magnet are located near the end. Means the poles of the magnet located near the end of a magnet. Okay, next, the poles of a magnet occurs in pairs. And cannot be separated. Means the magnetic pole always exists in pairs. Okay, the single pole or monopole is not possible. Okay, now you can prove this statement by performing an activity. Okay, so how can you perform the activity? See, you just take a magnet. This is a North Pole and this is a South Pole. Now you break the magnet into two pieces. Whenever you break the magnet, then you are able to see that every piece having the two poles, again North Pole, South Pole, North Pole, South Pole. Again you break these pieces into smaller piece. Then again you are able to see that every smaller piece having the two poles, that is North Pole, South Pole, North Pole, South Pole, North Pole, South Pole, North Pole and South Pole. So therefore, from this activity, your observation is that when the magnet breaks again and again, you will find that each smaller piece is a magnet with its two poles. Now from this activity, you can get two conclusions. Number 1, the poles of a magnet occurs in pairs. See, every pieces of magnet have the two poles. That's why you can say the poles of a magnet occurs in pairs. Number 2, it is not possible to obtain an isolated single pole. Means the single pole of a magnet is never possible. Now, you have to know the interaction between the magnetic poles. Interaction between the magnetic poles. We know that magnet have a two poles, north pole and south pole. Like pole means north pole or south pole repel each other with a force, and unlike pole means north pole and south pole attract each other with a force. So you can verify this statement by doing an activity also. See the activity. So there is a bar magnet which is suspended by a thread from a rigid support. This is north pole and this is south pole of a bar magnet. You just take another magnet. Okay. So this is another magnet, north pole and south pole. So whenever you bring the north pole of the magnet towards the south pole of suspended magnet, so between these two poles there is a force of attraction. There is a force of attractions. Now if you bring the south pole towards the south pole of suspended magnet, so then you are able to see that there is a force of repulsion. There is a force of repulsions. Now student, read this portion very carefully. Go through this video. If you face any problem, you can contact with me personally. Thank you.